Right, so we've got the 1594 in the workshop because I'm taking the cab off. The reason I'm taking the cab off is in the gearbox here, you don't have to split the tractor. There's a big casting on top of the gearbox that you can take off. Obviously, you can only take that off with the cab off, because underneath that casting, near the front here, just sort of under there, is the selector valve for the Hydroshift gear change. And that selector valve, it's got a little valve in it, I suppose, that shuttles about, but it's getting stuck. Might have a bit of grit on it or something, but it's getting stuck. It will free itself and then it'll work, but and so it's having trouble engaging the second clutch pack. So it'll go 1 to 2 fine, but it won't go 2 to 3 and then to 4. It'll just revert back to the single front clutch pack working. Now, I have looked at it before. It was suggested by Barclay Williams that I just use some T-cut on it because it's the fine tolerances and all that. That worked for a little while, but it soon messed up again. So I'm gonna probably get an exchange valve. I haven't actually asked them if they do an exchange valve, but hopefully they do. Apparently, they were saying the old Hydroshifts, the valve was sat upright on them before the quiet cabs, and the oil would drain out and you wouldn't get any issues. Or you didn't get any issues really with this particular valve, but now they're laying flat in the gearbox, and the oil sort of sits in them, and any slight imperfection in the oil or grit or anything like that all sit in a trough in it rather than drain out, and over time that can cause them to stick. I mean, this has done 7,500 hours, something like that, so it hasn't done bad. But anyway, so cab off to get to that, and then I'm probably going to be checking up on some other stuff as well. And I'll expect I'll probably find some things while I've done it. I'll probably change. I've got all the filters. I'll check on the time the oil's been in the rear end. I can't remember. It's all on a chalkboard over here. When did I last change these oils? Was hydraulic oil and filter 6,164. 6,164, and this is done, so that's probably all right. 6,600, so I doubt it'll need the oil. I have got a filter, so I'll probably just change the filter on the rear end. Anyway, we'll get stuck into it. It's not a difficult well, I suppose it is difficult. I don't know whether it's difficult or not. You get used to it. I've took it off a few times. You can take it off in an afternoon if you're in a particular hurry. I doubt I'll do it this afternoon, but I expect I can disconnect most things. There's a lot of stuff to disconnect, but it's sort of nothing too onerous. The most difficult thing is the combining valve for the 2 hydraulic pumps, which is sort of tucked in here and takes a little bit of dexterous fingers to do, so that's all right. The biggest problem I've ever had with it, putting it back, is bleeding the brakes. And we did have a second one of these a couple of years newer, and it had different hydraulic brake valve on it, slightly different. It had a different arrangement for bleeding as well, and it was a hell of a lot easier than this one is. This one is difficult to bleed. Anyway, I shall start undoing nuts, bolts and clips. Okay, I believe I've disconnected everything. So we've got electrical, the hydro shift lever which hangs out here, the throttle cables, the water to the cab, the washer which I managed to break because it's so cold and brittle, so that's a bit annoying. Stop cable, then in all these, every single one of these levers on here have all got cables and things going to them. Brakes, clutch, or the PTO clutch, brakes, like the hydraulic lines for them, pickup hitch, four-wheel drive lever, and I think that's pretty much it. What we have to do is once that starts lifting, I think it's this side, yeah, you got the electrical connection for the fuel tank sender. The bolts, the four cab bolts are undone, the throttle linkages are undone. The gear stick, I've took that out. You haven't got to take it out, but it makes it easier to get to things. I think that's it. So then what we do, I'm going to have my dinner first, mate, before I do it. It's all ready. So I put the fork extensions on, they help, I think. Then I've got a piece of 6x3 up the front there. Actually, that's moved a little bit. Let's just put that, oh, sorry. There, just put that there. Bit of 6x3. So that'll lift on this bit of the cab here. Then I've just got a bit of 4x2 just sitting at the back there, just for something to sit on. And you just put it on, lift it up with the forks. Nice and easy. Well, nice and easy if you've undone everything. I'm on my own, but so it's a case of pick it up, have a look, or pick up a little bit, have a look, and check that everything is undone. But anyway, I'm going to go and have some lunch now. Lift it off after lunch. Alright, everything seems to be clear. So we'll lift it very gently, keeping a close eye on it. I just have to lift it high enough to avoid the wheels. That's it. We go back a bit. Right. That's it, everything's in there. So you've got that's the rev counter dangling at the front there. Right, let's drop it down as low as we can, because that way if it falls off, at least it doesn't fall quite so far. There. Now I'll go and find a shed to stick it in. Right, so the cab's off now, the tractor's back into the workshop, and I've taken off the two saddle tanks for the drained them with diesel, what they had in it, and taken the tanks away. So now we're sort of into it. So I'll probably do the next section in another video. So what I'm going to do here is take off this gearbox cover. It's sort of held in. You've got a wedge here that's driven down and hammered in and tightened up. You sort of undo these 4 bolts, knock that out, undo all these cover bolts. There's some bolts come in from the back, back here, sort of. I think there's 5 bolts go into this back cover across the back there. Undo these, and then this whole cover will lift off. You can take this gear range selector off and put a little hook in there and pick it up. I don't think any of this has to come off. I think this little bracket here does, from memory, from when I've done it before. And then where we're aiming to get to, or the thing we need to get to, is just under this section here. It's on the other end of this. This is the Hydroshift selection Bowden cable, and that works a little selector valve in there, and it's inside that valve that this thing is getting stuck in. So that's where we're heading, but we've got to take all this lump off to get to it. But we've done most of the, hard bit. Now this is just the cover's got to come off now. So I think we'll probably leave that one there and then do another one with the cover off and into the gearbox, and maybe I can even run it up and show it working as well. Got a few other jobs to do on it. There's some are on the cab, others are on here, but this is the main one we need to do.